Welcome to the channel, Gaming Army. I've got two great drops coming your way today, and while those play out in the background, we are also going to talk about everything related to the Hunchback. This is the hero mech, the Hunchback Gridiron. So strap yourselves in, and while we just utterly abuse this marauder, we're going to have a deep dive discussion about the Hunchback Gridiron hero mech. And as with any review of a mech, we want to start at the beginning. What does this mech bring to the table in stock loadout? In other words, what can you expect straight from the mech factory? And taking a look at the stock loadout, you'll see it comes with a Gauss rifle, one SRM-6, two medium pulse lasers, one small laser, and a top speed of 64.8 kph. Now, at first glance, that looks like quite the assortment of weapon systems, but it just simply works on the battlefield. And the reason why it works on the battlefield and is so effective, I think, has a lot to do with the quirks that this mech can bring to the table. So if we roll up our sleeves and check the quirks department, you're going to see the hallmark armor quirks. 16 in the one side torso, 16 center torso, 28 in the right torso, which you would expect on a Hunchback. That gives it its survivability. There's also a bit of structure thrown in there. In the firepower department, minus 30% inner sphere Gauss cooldown, another minus 20% ballistic cooldown. You've got missile cooldowns, velocity bonuses, and you've even got a little bit of energy range thrown in there for good measure. Now, on top of this, because it is a hero mech, it comes with the all-important 30% C-Bill earned bonus. Currently, in the drop action that's been playing out, my mech was on its last legs and down I go, but it's kind of okay. My team is up on kills. They should be able to bring this one home, and we chalked up 2 enemy kills before we went down. We had the Marauder, and we also dealt with the pesky Incubus before we were taken out of the game. But I do want to point out in those last few seconds something very important about the Hunchback Gridiron, especially in this configuration. You don't have technically a shield side, because that left side, that's where your SRM-6 launcher is. So just keep that in mind. The turn towards the enemy fire and twist away and give them your left side doesn't really work in this mech and this configuration. So take that with a huge grain of salt, block of salt, whatever you want to do. Currently, my team is 1 kill away from ending this drop. They're on the hunt. Looks like the last enemy unit is a flea. Go figure. And he's on the run. He's open right torso, right leg. We should be able to put him down pretty handily, and that should bring us home with a big fat victory on Viridian Bog. But the flea is being a bit elusive, to say the least. So he's making my team work for it. Good for him. You go, flea. There's nothing worse than sitting back and having somebody not engage at the very end just because they're the last man standing. So I applaud the flea's tenacity in making my team work and hunt for him, but we finally managed to get the kill. Switching over to the end screen on this one, we wound up with 2 kills, 6 assists, 570 damage done. Moving on to our next drop. This one has us playing Domination on River City, and this is going to play out in the background as we continue our discussion about the Hunchback, the Gridiron hero. But first, a quick word from our sponsor. This video is brought to you by PGI, makers of the 2023 Big Beach Party. Okay, now that we got that done and out of the way, let's continue our talk about this Hunchback. Now, most of you are looking in the right-hand corner, and for the first time in a long time, you're saying, wait a second, Juan, your weapons almost match up with the stock loadout. Have you lost your mind? No! I've tried this in multiple configurations, and I'll even leave a link to one of those other videos at the end of this video, so you can go check it out for yourself. But in the meantime, yes, I am pretty close to stock loadout. Let's take a quick peek under the hood to see just where the differences are. So popping the hood on my mech, I've got the Gauss rifle, retained that, as well as the SRM-6. Now, where I made the changes is the medium pulses are gone, as well as the small laser, and I put in 3 medium lasers in their place, and I've also done an engine upgrade. So instead of 64.8 kph, I am now running 71.2 kph. So with those minor changes, I'm a little faster, and I've got a little bit extra range when it comes to my laser weapons. Now the rest of the build is perfectly fine. This mech will function just fantastic the way it is in this configuration because you've got your Gauss rifle. You can take targets at range. It's fast enough and cycles quickly that you can even use it for brawling, which you'll never hear me say about Gauss rifles, that's for sure. But this thing cycles very, very fast. Pair that up with your medium lasers, SRM-6s, you've got some good damage up close, and you have the option of peeking and poking early game with that Gauss rifle. The only thing you need to make sure that you burn into your brain is the left side. Don't fall into the old muscle memory habit of shooting your enemy, spinning the left side towards them to take the incoming fire, because that's where your SRM-6 launcher is, and potentially there may even be some ammunition kicking around over there. Getting back into the action on this drop, our team started off doing the Gulf line push, and I was okay with that because I've got the long range of the Gauss rifle, which was allowing me to take pod shots at any enemies that were sticking their heads up. There were quite a few of them up towards the airfield on the high ground trying to snipe at us in return. Now the enemy looks like they want to fight around their alpha site somewhere here in the buildings, and I'm still okay with that because my weapons loadout, it allows me to be versatile. I can bring my medium lasers to bear now. I can bring my SRMs to bear, well, somewhat, but I've got a very fast cycle time on this Gauss rifle, which means it actually is okay for brawling. You don't hear me say that very often. Now, I did have some difficulty with the SRM-6s because of all the buildings were in the way, but as I get into clearer, more open terrain, I will deploy those more and more. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to take out the enemy Kodiak, but I did manage to find an enemy Supernova, and he shuts down due to heat problems. We're just going to keep hammering on him. There we go. We've taken the right torso. Let's see if we can get this left torso off of him. He shuts down again. That allows us to get some extra damage in. Not quite enough to take off his other side torso, and he is going somewhat vertical. We just can't land the kill shot. There it is. So we take the Supernova out of the equation. Unfortunately, I think I'm about to be taken out of the equation because I shut down and I have nowhere to spin and turn again. I don't have a shield side in this mech. They've already managed to take my launcher off, and down my mech goes. Well, this is going to be an interesting fight. Let's see if my team can bring this one home to victory. We are behind by 2 kills, so they've got their work cut out for them. No more mistakes. It's got to be a clean game, and they've got to claw their way back into this match. And while they do so, a quick reminder, if you've enjoyed the content thus far, make sure you give it a big like, and if you didn't like the comment, give it 2 thumbs down, just to make sure that it registers. And if you want to become part of the Sleepless Nights gaming army, make sure you hit the subscribe button, turn on that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any great future content like this. And guys, I really appreciate all the support you're showing the channel and helping it grow. The score is now 8-10. We just can't seem to close that gap. They still have the 2-kill advantage, and our Archer Tempest is making a good show of things, trying to bring his lasers and missiles to bear, and that's when an enemy Vulcan shows up on the scene to kind of ruin his day. He's underrun the missiles, but he's also backing off quite aggressively, and that may just buy our Archer the space he needs to operate. Unfortunately, while that exchange was going on, the enemy has taken out another teammate somewhere else on the board, and now the Archer is last man standing, 3v1, and he is making a go of it, And good for him. He's getting some missiles out, but some of these units look very, very fresh, including the one down in the city. The Vulcan, I think, is very hurt. There's something else up here on the top with him, and he's got to be very careful. His back is open to boot. He's just getting swarmed no matter which way he turns, but he is fighting on. So go, Archer, go. Let's see if he can't do some work and maybe take out this adder, possibly. Didn't see the damage on it. Oh, and here comes the Stormcrow, and he's fresh. He is super fresh. I'm actually not sure why he didn't engage the Archer. He had lots of armor. Instead, we've managed to take part of the Vulcan, and now, unfortunately, it's a death by 1,000 paper cuts, and they're going to focus him and take him down at this point. Still not sure why the Stormcrow isn't pushing him, but this is going to be a nail-biter. Can we get one more kill? Just one more kill. I think the Archer is too banged up at this point, and they're going to swarm him, focus him, and take him out, bringing this drop to a close. Switching over to our end screen, we wind up with 1 kill, 4 assists, 584 damage done.